But I want to tie it in because I want to get karrigan's perspective. Back when you were in that TSM team, like, I used to hype Device just because, listen, I think I have a really good eye test. So when I pick someone, I think they're a star, I start building the story. I start telling fans, like, watch this guy. He's going to be something. Look at the style. Here's who he reminds me of. Here's what he could be. Now, here's the mad thing. I'm not joking, karrigan. Privately, this isn't a big deal. I'm sure you wouldn't be offended if I said this. I asked him in an interview once as well for E-League. I once said to Device, like, if you're the star, mate, you can't just go missing in all the semi-finals and finals. Like, I know it sounds unfair, but you have to win that match. And here's what he actually told me. He said, stop calling me a star player and telling people I'm a star player. I'm not a star player. I'm just a good player. And, you know, Dupree's really good as well. Cajun's really good. In fact, in my team, we just have good players. We don't have star players. And I think the responsibility should be equal for all of us. And yeah, I didn't play well in a couple of finals, but like, who cares? Like, you know, like, I'm working on it. I'll do things. Now, I'll just tell people a piece of trivia. In the Astralis team, where he has Glaive and they won all these tournaments, Device has won the most MVP HLTV medals in the history of Counter-Strike. So one thing he even said years later was he said he himself had to basically figure out what the concept of being a star is. Because the idea I was trying to get over him to was the responsibility. The logic went like this. Yeah, you know what? KGB's a really good player. You could go off on Dust 2. You could have an awesome day. But here's the difference. KGB can't do what you can do, Device. Like, you could take the whole game over, mate. You could be the best player against anyone. KGB has to hope it's a good day. Or he has to hope he's in good form. Or, you know, he has to have his right breakfast in the morning or something. What do you think on this topic, karrigan? Because I know it must have been something you struggled with, trying to figure out what do you do with these players? How do you figure out who the stars are? What you did? One of your first in-game leader gigs, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was like first time I actually in-game leader on a high level in CSGO. I was about to stop before TSM wrote me. So yeah, coming to that line, the pressure was high, and I kind of instantly saw Dupree and Device are kind of the main star players of the team, where the others would be the rock, like it's the double D combo, like we always talked about. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of frustration with Dupree back then as well. He couldn't manage his anger, and I also think he manages way better now. That's also why he's way more stable. And I think one of the reasons, right, Device probably wrote that too, is trying to take the pressure away from them. Because the pressure was mounting a lot on them in TSM. Because we were playing so good, and then we couldn't really do the finish line. So you're looking to the star players, right? Because everything else works in the team. The strats, the way we play, we're getting situations. And Device normally has 25 frags, but suddenly has 15 frags, right? And you're looking to him, where's the star player of that team? So like you said, right, Cajun would have these Joker matches, Subnix, me would have these Joker matches. I also got one MVP randomly at Faceit League, right? So okay. we had, I don't know how that happened, but I got one MVP apparently. But then obviously the two players we were looking to was Device and Dupree, right? So you have them as the main carriers of a team. And I think they were too young at that moment to realize what is a star player, right? Because you never really talked about in the team that he is the star, right? We knew how to set up Device, and that was also why mainly we had an issue, right? Because he was insanely good luck. Like, he was so good at creating gaps, the timings with a rifle. But we had an issue who could play the AWP, right? So we split up the AWP on 3 different players. There was not a consistency in the team at that moment, and a coach like Sonic saw this, they put Device on AWP, and we need to figure out who can play lurk really good. And that's where they got Maze and Cabu later to play these important roles where you find the gaps on the other side of the map, right? So there was mainly some issues in the team, and I also think that's why Device couldn't perform as good as he wanted, because he didn't have a set role. Does that make sense? Because if you're a star player, you're like, okay, if you're Robson Mouse, okay, I'm the ultra lurk. I'm always going to be in the clutches. That's where I need to perform. That's my goal. If the team gets me in the clutches, I win the round for the team. Where Device was sometimes anti-fragging, sometimes AWPing, sometimes lurking, right? So suddenly you have a very, very hybrid role where it's hard to perform constantly because you're not in the same situation. It's not like practice day out, day in with an AWP, or day out, day in with a lurk. You get 100 possibilities during a practice session. So I think by Device getting the AWP, I think he found himself in a situation, okay, to be the star player of the team, I need to perform with an AWP. I need to learn, nerd, anti-strat, everything I can about this role. How can I be the best AWP in the world? And I think that's where he found himself not where he could finally perform on the high level constantly. So I think it was the role switch that did it, to be honest.
How old was your device during this time?
Like I said, I think 18 maybe.
18?
19, 20 maybe. There was a pretty young team I was in, actually. Cajun and me was old, but we were like 25, 26 or something. And the rest was like 20, they were still in high school kind of thing, both of them.
Yeah.
Like, so there must have been like 18 to 20, Supnik's device and the pre, right? So they were still young and it was still a new scene. There was no coach, no sports psychologist, right? It was all about me. And I have never lead on a high level in CSGO before, right? It was a completely different world for me as well. I was not supposed to be there. I was supposed to finish my studies at that moment.